If you've been lowballed on a trade-in recently, this isn't negotiation, it's rejection. Let me be clear about something right from the start. Dealers absolutely want trade-ins. They're desperate for them, actually. There's a massive inventory shortage happening right now, and trade-ins are the best way for dealers to get quality used cars. So when you see a title like Why Dealers Don't Want Trade-ins Anymore, but that's not the full story. Here's what's actually happening. Dealers don't want your trade-in specifically, and there's a very good reason why. Let's break this down. First, you need to understand why dealers are so desperate for trade-ins in the first place, because this context matters. Remember, the pandemic, 2020, 2021, when you couldn't buy a new car without a 6-month wait and dealers were charging $10,000 over MSRP. Those missing production years just created a catastrophic used car shortage in 2025. Here's what happened. From 2016 to 2019, America sold about 17 million new cars every year. Consistent, predictable. Then 2020 hit and production collapsed to 13.7 million vehicles. Those missing 3 to 4 million cars from 2020 and 2021 were supposed to become the used car inventory you'd buy right now. They don't exist. Used car inventory is currently sitting at 43 days of supply. That's the lowest level since 2021. A healthy market needs about 60 days. We're not just low, we're in crisis territory. And it's getting worse. Lease returns, which normally flood the market with pristine 3-year-old vehicles, are at decade lows. Only about 2 million lease maturities this year. That's half of what it used to be. Off-lease vehicles are basically extinct, so dealers need inventory badly. Trade-ins are their most reliable source of quality used cars that they can actually make money on. But here's the problem. Not all trade-ins are created equal. Some trade-ins are gold. Clean title, low miles, popular model. No liens, easy to value. Dealers will fight over these. Other trade-ins are financial landmines, and if your car is one of them, your dealer isn't going to tell you to leave. They're just going to make you an offer so low that you leave on your own. That's what's really happening. So let's talk about which vehicles are the problem. Here's a number that should make you uncomfortable. 26% of people trading in cars right now owe more than their car is worth. That's more than 1 in 4 trade-ins, and it's a 4-year high. But that's not the scary number. The scary number is how much people are underwater. The average negative equity on a trade-in right now is $6,754. Almost $7,000 in debt that has to get absorbed somewhere, and it gets worse from there. 32% of people with negative equity owe between $5,000 and $10,000 more than their car is worth. 23% owe more than $10,000. Let me say that again. Nearly 1 in 4 people with negative equity are upside down by 5 figures. Now let me explain what this means for a dealer. You walk in with a car worth $20,000. You owe $27,000. You want to trade it in and buy a new car. The dealer has 3 options. Option 1, give you fair market value for your trade, $20,000, and roll the $7,000 deficit into your new loan. But now your new $35,000 car has a $42,000 loan on it. You're immediately underwater on your new car by $7,000, and if you default in 6 months, the dealer's finance partner takes a massive loss. Option 2, discount the new car by $7,000 to offset your negative equity. But now they just erased most of their profit margin. They're basically working for free. Option 3, lowball your trade-in to $18,000, which feels like rejection, and you walk out. Problem solved. Most dealers are choosing option 3. And here's what makes this even worse. This problem is accelerating. In the third quarter of 2024, 31% of financed car owners were underwater. By Q4, that jumped to 39%. That's a 25% increase in 3 months. Translation? If you financed a car in the last 3 years, especially if you paid inflated pandemic prices with minimal down payment and a long loan term, there's a very good chance you're trapped. And dealers know it the second they pull your VIN. But if you think negative equity on gas cars is bad, electric vehicles are in a completely different category of disaster. EV owners are underwater by an average of $10,326 right now. That's double what it was in 2022. 54% of EV owners are upside down in their loans, more than half. What happened? Well, Tesla started a price war. The Model Y that cost $60,000 in 2022 is now $45,000 brand new. Your 2-year-old EV that you paid $55,000 for is now worth $35,000 on trade. You lost $20,000 in value in 2 years. Dealers got absolutely crushed in 2023. They took EV trade-ins assuming normal depreciation curve, and the cars lost 25 to 30% of their value in 6 months. Many dealers lost $5,000 to $10,000 per EV trade-in. So now they don't want to touch them. You walk into a dealership with a Chevy Bolt, a Ford Mustang Mach-E, a Rivian, anything that's not a Tesla, and the appraiser just had his stomach drop because he has no idea what that vehicle will be worth in 90 days. New EV prices keep falling, incentives keep changing. Range anxiety is real. Charging infrastructure is inconsistent. Battery degradation is unpredictable. Depreciation curves are broken. So the dealer looks at your EV and thinks, if I give this person $30,000 for their trade and it's only worth $25,000, by the time I sell it, I just lost $5,000. And if I can't sell it at all and have to wholesale it, I'm losing $8,000. That's why they lowball you to $22,000, because they're pricing in catastrophic depreciation risk. And if you get offended and leave, perfect, problem solved. But there's another layer to this, because even if your trade-in is clean, no negative equity, not an EV, perfect condition, there's still a good chance your dealer isn't going to get it. Here's a statistic that should blow your mind. 70% of people walking into dealerships have a car to trade in, but dealers are only capturing 34% of those trade-ins. Where are the other 66% going? CarMax and Carvana are buying 2 million vehicles a year directly from consumers. To put that in perspective, these two companies retail less than 3% of all used cars in America, but they're acquiring 13% of all used vehicles from consumers. They're buying 4 times more cars than they're selling. They become the country's largest used car wholesalers without actually being wholesalers. And here's why they're winning. They appraise 80% of their vehicles in an automated way. You go to CarMax's website, you plug in your VIN, you answer 8 questions, and you get an instant offer. 7 days to accept. Done. No negotiation. No waiting around while some guy walks around your car with a clipboard for 20 minutes. No adversarial back and forth. Just a number. Take it or leave it. Most dealers, you have to schedule an appointment. Bring your car in. Wait, get a lowball first offer, because that's what they've always done. Then negotiate. Even if the final number matches CarMax, the process is so much worse that you'd rather just take the CarMax offer. And here's the kicker. While your local dealer makes $500 wholesaling your trade-in, CarMax is making $1,700 on that same vehicle. CarMax figured out the real wholesale value. Your dealer left $1,200 on the table because their appraisal tools are outdated and their process is inefficient. So even the good trade-ins, the ones dealers actually want, are being intercepted before they ever make it to the dealership lot. So what does all of this mean if you're trying to trade in a car right now? First, understand that if you get a lowball offer, it might not be a negotiation tactic. It might be the dealer's way of politely telling you they don't want your trade. Check if you have negative equity. Check if your car is an EV or a low-demand model. If yes, that lowball offer is probably the real number. Second, get multiple offers before you ever step foot in a dealership. Go to CarMax. Go to Carvana. Get online instant offers from Vroom, Shift, whoever else is in your market. If everyone is giving you the same low number, your car is the problem, not the dealer's. Third, if you have negative equity, do not trade in your car unless you absolutely have to. Every time you roll that debt into a new loan, you're making the problem worse. You'll be underwater on your next car immediately. You'll be trapped in a debt spiral for years. Drive your current car until the loan is paid off. Fourth, if If you have an EV and you're not deeply underwater, consider selling it privately. You'll get more money from a motivated individual buyer than you will from a dealer who has to price in catastrophic depreciation risk. And fifth, understand that dealers aren't the enemy here. They're running a business. They can't take a $5,000 loss on your trade-in just to make, if your car is a financial liability, they're going to protect themselves. That's not greed, it's survival. So let's bring this all together. Dealers don't want your trade-in. Not because they don't want trade-ins in general, they desperately do. But because specific types of trade-ins are financial disasters right now. High negative equity, unpredictable EV depreciation, cars they can't value accurately. When they're forced to deal with these problem vehicles, they lowball you. And that lowball offer feels like rejection because, functionally, it's a soft no disguised as a negotiation. The inventory crisis is real. Dealers need cars, but they can't afford to lose thousands of dollars per trade-in just to keep you happy, so they're being selective. And if your car doesn't make financial sense, you're going to get an offer that makes you walk away. The solution? Know what your car is actually worth before you walk in. Get multiple offers. Understand if you have negative equity. Be realistic about depreciation if you own an EV. And if every dealer and online buyer is giving you the same low number, accept that the problem is your car, not the market. If this video helped you understand what's really happening with trade-ins, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more deep dives that explain the car market without the dealer propaganda or consumer fantasy. And drop a comment. Have you been lowballed on a trade-in recently? What did they offer versus what you thought it was worth? I want to hear your stories. I'll see you in the next one.